Chronicles of the Grim Reaper, The Final Farewell, by Griz Calderon. The evening was warm, with a gentle breeze carrying the soft scent of blooming jasmine into Grayson's cozy home. The air was filled with the sound of laughter and soft music, mingling with the clinking of glasses as Grayson sat on her porch, her head tilted back in a carefree laugh that lit up her entire face. Across from her, a man leaned in, his smile wide and filled with affection. His hand brushed hers gently, their fingers meeting with an ease that spoke of a tender connection. Unseen by either of them, the Grim Reaper stood just beyond the porch, his form blending into the stillness of the evening. But tonight, he felt no sense of duty pulling him toward her. Instead, he felt something unfamiliar, an ache that spread through him as he watched Grayson with the man who now brought her the joy he had wished for her since he met her. She's happy. That was all that mattered. As much as it pained him, the Reaper knew that this was how it was meant to be. Grayson deserved this, a life filled with love, laughter, and companionship. He had given her the chance to find it, and she had taken it, as he had hoped she would. But the ache did not subside. He lingered, watching as she leaned closer to the man, her eyes sparkling with a light he had never seen before. Her laughter was like music, and though it warmed him to know she had found this happiness, it also broke something deep within him. He knew he could not stay. His presence would only disrupt the life she was building, the love she was learning to embrace. Grayson had to live her life fully, without the shadow of his visits holding her back. With one last look, the Reaper turned away, fading into the night. Years passed. The Reaper never visited her again. He stayed away, though she was never far from his thoughts. He imagined her laughing, dancing, and growing older with a family of her own. He found solace in the idea that she was living the life she deserved. Yet, on nights when the world felt particularly heavy, he thought of her. Her smile, her warmth, the way she had once looked at him as if she could truly see him. And then, one day, he felt the pull. It was her time. The hospital room was quiet, save for the soft hum of machines and the muted whispers of her family. Grayson lay in the center of it all, her hair now silver and soft, draped delicately across the pillow. Her face, once framed by the dark curls he had admired, was now lined with the years she had lived. Yet, to him, she was more beautiful than ever. Her bone structure remained regal, her eyes no longer full of longing, but of peace and fulfillment. She looked different, but she was still Grayson, the woman who had changed him. Around her stood her husband, her children, and her grandchildren, their love filling the room as they held her hands, whispered words of comfort, and wiped away their tears. Grayson's heart was content and ready. Though she wanted to stay for them, she knew she could not. She felt hopeful that she would see the Reaper again, but this time she did not long to leave the world. She had lived a full life, and though it was difficult to let go, she knew it was her time. The Reaper appeared, stepping silently into the room. He felt the weight of his duty as he looked at her, frail, but still so beautiful, her spirit glowing brightly even as her body faded. The warmth of her presence hit him like a wave, the same warmth he had felt all those years ago. But this time, it was different. It was the warmth of a life well lived, a heart that had loved deeply and been loved in return. This was not how he had imagined this moment. Life, her life, had changed that. He had always known they could never truly be together, but a small part of him had hoped. He had wished for something impossible. Yet, he knew better. He always had. Grayson stirred, her eyes fluttering open. Though she couldn't see him, she felt him, just as she always had. A soft smile graced her lips as she looked beyond her family, her gaze settling where he stood. "You're here?" she whispered, her voice weak but filled with a quiet joy. "I am," he replied, his voice a gentle caress in her mind. "It's time, Grayson." She nodded, her eyes glistening with tears, though not from fear or sadness. "I've missed you," she said softly. The Reaper knelt beside her, his presence wrapping around her like a warm embrace. "I never forgot you," he admitted. "There were times I wanted to see you, to feel your presence again. But I knew it would only hurt us both. Watching you laugh and love from afar was enough for me, knowing you were happy." The Reaper placed a hand over her heart, feeling the steady slowing of its beat. "And I never forgot you," he said. "All of our memories will always be with me, and you will carry them with you. My heart is breaking again, but it has been an honor to know you, Grayson. You've changed me in ways I cannot explain." Grayson's gaze shifted to her husband and their children, her heart swelling with gratitude and pride. "They're my everything," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "But I never forgot you. Not once." As her final breath escaped her lips, the Reaper gently gathered her soul, a radiant light that shimmered with all the love and memories of her life. He watched as she turned to him one last time, her essence glowing with gratitude and peace. "Goodbye," she said, her voice like a melody carried on the wind. "Goodbye, Grayson," he replied, his heart breaking again, even as he smiled. "You were my light in the shadows." And with that, he released her, watching as her soul ascended to join the eternal, where love and peace awaited her. The room grew quiet, and the Reaper stood alone once more, the weight of his duty settling over him. But as he faded into the shadows, he carried her memory with him, a piece of her light that would guide him through the darkness. For though their paths had finally parted, she would remain with him forever, a love that transcended time and space. The end.